Welcome to Dependable Flame, where we explore vintage petrol lighters, ashtrays, tobacconiana, and other useful mechanisms. Make yourself at home.
Today we are going to disassemble the mechanism on this vintage Noble flat advertising petrol lighter. The flint tube is clogged with degraded flint. So the first thing we want to do is remove the flint spring and screw. Set that to the side. And we're going to hold the front side of that fulcrum screw with our fingernail and get a screwdriver onto the fulcrum cap on the back side. We're going to thread that off. Remove the fulcrum cap. As well as the fulcrum screw. Hold everything in place here as we pull that fulcrum screw out. Dipping everything off into the 91% isopropyl alcohol. There we have our bar mechanism. And you can see there that the tube is clogged with degraded old flint. So we are going to pull apart our snuffer mechanism here. There's one of the gears that goes on the side. The other gear. There's the actual snuffer, clutch spring, and our file wheel. So we're going to get all those soaking in the alcohol as a solvent. Get those cleaned up momentarily. In the meantime, get our 3/32 drill bit and spin that inside of that tube and see if we can get the degraded, dusty flint to break free and come out of there. There we go. So, not a whole lot of pressure involved. Just spinning that wheel. You can see the dust falling through onto my hand. Get our canned air, and we're just going to hit that tube with a little bit of canned air. Hopefully knock any residual flint dust out of there. All right. Let's just see if we put our spring in, and it does come all the way up and out of the tube. So that part should be clean and good. Wipe up our work surface here of some of this degraded flint. Now we will take this broken off toothpick. It's actually a skewer, it's just a toothpick size skewer. But we're going to use that to mop up our residual grime and other nastiness here from the top of this lighter. Make sure we clean off from the inside of those ears or posts, whatever you like to call them. And that should be about as clean as we need it to be. And I'm not going to have you guys sit here and watch me clean off all these parts. There's really not much to it. we're going to hit the file wheel with a brass wire brush to clean that. Okay, so now that we have all of our parts clean, we're going to get our alcohol out of the way. Hopefully get our parts organized here in the way that we are going to need them. First thing that you want to do is take the snuffer along with the clutch spring and file wheel, and you're going to fit that clutch spring and file wheel together. Slide them up into the snuffer mechanism. Like that. Place your gear in the side like a little puzzle in its spot. Same thing on the back side. Get it fit into place. Now we've got that entire assembly together. You're going to hold everything sideways along with the actuating bar. Get all that timed in there together. Held into place. Slide a pick in there to center everything. Pull your pick out. Slide your fulcrum screw in. Once you've got the fulcrum screw in there, you can turn it to the back side and replace the fulcrum cap. Get your fulcrum cap back in place and then thread that down. And you should be able to tighten that tight enough by holding the back side with your fingernail. Now we've got our mechanism functioning as it should. Get a flint and drop that right down the tube. Replace our flint spring and screw. Go ahead and groove our flint. Make sure everything is sparking and moving in the right direction. Then we will tighten that flint spring screw on down. Take our fuel cap off of the lighter. Bottle of Ronsinol fluid and probably, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 droppers, I'm guessing. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We will stop there and see if that is sufficient fuel to fire this lighter up. So you have seen us disassemble this mechanism, clear the flint tube of the old degraded flint, and then reinstall the mechanism back on the lighter, install a new flint and fuel it up. Got a good spark, and that wick is dry, so it looks as though 6 drops will not be enough. See how many more we might need here. And that appears to just be drinking that fluid right up. Wick still feels somewhat dry, so we will give it one more. Replace the cap. And give it a spin. Give it a couple more drops of petrol fluid. Seal this back up. Thread the fuel screw back down. And give it a test. Looks like we may need to replace the wick in this lighter. You saw it light up there, but that wick the flame anyway, sort of petered out really quickly. It's kind of a stiff wick. And of course we have it overfueled now, which is pretty typical of the way that I do things. But we shall see. We may have to replace the wick in this to make this fully operational, but this has been disassembling the mechanism in a vintage Noble super automatic lighter made in Japan, flat add lighter. Very typical mechanism for a flat add lighter. And if we do have to replace the wick in this, that will be pretty typical of these lighters as well. Until next time. Yeah, definitely looks like we'll be replacing the wick. Until next time.